did some more research. It's saying that pig is like a reincarnated person. But food looks more natural and all.
Yeah, food is, yeah. So the McDonald's, like the burger, the size of the burger that you see advertised on TV is the same size you see that you get in the restaurant in Jamaica. Here,
it looked beautiful.
Yeah, it's just a little small thing. Like Usain Bolt, like he pretty much eats the same thing that any other track runner in America would eat, but it's a higher grade level.
I think on the Christian walk, too many Christians are they're so stuck in the New Testament.
We were celibate, and that was one thing that was super hard. I think for me, I'm okay to question what we've been taught, right? I think that for me, when I say love is different. God's version of love is different from man's version of love. Women, especially now in our culture, can be so disrespectful. And Jerome is very blunt. Like, that's one thing about, like, just Jamaican culture. Yeah. So in Jerome, when I first met, he was like, do you edit your Facebook picture? I was like, do you edit it? I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, you look lighter. You look lighter in your picture than you do in person. Like, are you sure you don't edit the photo? Like, basically, like, calling me like a catfish. And I was like, what? I was like, he's like, is this for you? He's like, no.
Somebody with my partner told me, man, there's 3 kind of people in the world.
Man, welcome back to the Rob and Savage podcast. I got a special guest, 2 special guests here with me right here. The Baugh family. How y'all doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you for having us on today.
Yeah, it was, as soon as Jerome asked me, that was automatic. He really had to ask it. Y'all good people. And I know y'all got a great story, so let's dive on in. All right. So we're gonna, go from right to left. Jerome, let's tell us about your story, man. You came from Jamaica, right?
Yeah.
How was that transition from Jamaica to the United States?
Okay, so that's a lot to unpack. So Jamaica is very different culturally, especially when I was growing up, different culturally from America. And I came to New York, so it's like even going to school was different. Trying to get around, I grew up in a house, but it's not like houses especially where I'm from, it's not like houses up here. So, like here you'll have like possibly a basement. Well, in New York, you'll possibly have a basement for a house, a basement in your house, kitchen, and maybe even upstairs. In Jamaica, it's just 1 floor. Everything all on 1 floor.
1 floor, okay.
Unless you're one of those rich people who can afford all that stuff.
Right.
But
is this Kingston or is this?
No, in St. Catherine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So where I live, it's like houses are kind of connected to each other, and like you gotta take the bus everywhere unless you have a car, and the supermarket wasn't like close by. Like you could walk a couple blocks and get what you need. Like, you gotta take a bus all the way, and things are just different.
But food looks more natural and all.
Yeah, food is so a big thing. So orange juice tastes very different there than it does over there.
Very concentrated over there.
Yeah.
No Tang, no Sunny D, no Sunny D.
No Sunny D. Even though I'm vegan, milk. Even milk tastes different there than here. Chicken tastes different. Even McDonald's and KFC. Like,
I heard about that.
So the McDonald's, like the size of the burger that you see advertised on TV is the same size you see that you get in the restaurant in Jamaica. Here,
it looked beautiful.
It's just a little small thing.
Editing the pictures.
And so
Elroy made it.
And so when you bite into it, it's like it's real juicy. It's big. It's satisfying, and and you kind of want more. Here, you just like eat it, and you're like,
you just feel it in when you get hungry.
It's just like you want to have any more after a while. But that's pretty much a big difference. And like even going to school, every school has a uniform. Like literally every school has a uniform.
Okay, I thought it was just a movie thing. I used to watch movies in Jamaica, Bahamas. They all the school uniform on. Unless you're in college, but everything from like high school downward is uniform, and there are a lot of all boys and all girls schools
at a high school level. There are schools that have both male and female students, but for the most part, it's just male and just female. I was in one of them.
So I did that, man.
Yeah,
I can't be around my bros all day. But I understand. I get it. You know what I mean? I always gotta say this, man. Is Usain Bolt like the president out there?
No.
the whole Jamaica.
Well, so I wasn't there when he was big. You know,
Okay.
This is like in my 20s. That's when.
That's right. Y'all at the same age, so he kind of while he's coming up, you going your route, he doing his route. He's trying to get to where he is.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So.
And who's the president?
Well, there's no president. It's the prime minister. I don't even know who the prime minister is now.
Okay.
But at the time when I was there, it was PJ Patterson, and from what I understand, politics are very corrupt in Jamaica. You actually get killed.
Yeah, he was talking about it.
Yeah, not for talking about it, but for like there are people who will go on the bus and ask who you're voting for. If you say the person that they're not aligned with, then they'll kill you.
So here's the thing, man. I've heard that, man. You hear about these things in these countries, man, or these islands, these territories, and one thing I've noticed with Jamaica, and you can tap in on this, the Asian influence. That's really got me like, how do y'all even allow that? Go back to the politics, corruption.
Yeah. So. When I was there, I only spotted a few Asians. I don't know if anything bad to happen to them. Community-wise, people are friendly with them. I don't know how it is on the political side, but you know, like I had a friend who was half Asian, half black. I didn't realize it at the time, but you know, thing on it back then, you know, yeah, he's half Asian, half black. My principal, when I went to prep school, this was like grades K through 6, and it's like when you see her now, like she looks Asian and black, but when I was a kid back then, I just thought she was black. I got you. I was like, I just didn't know all the different races.
Right at that time.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring it up is because I'm a big history buff, and I just like to know things about what's going on. And I think that the Asians, the Chinese, came in about the ports. So they own that. So I'm like, the same thing they done in Africa. So I always wondered, like, since you was there, did you see that? But you said it was kind of getting filtered in at the night. Now it's really just
There's a new show called Black Cake. It's on Hulu. But it shows they did the perfect casting. Like it's like the Asian and Jamaican kind of influence, and like even with all the cast, you can kind of see that and see like that race between the two. So it really paints that picture very nicely.
No, it's a female artist right now. She's in New York. I just heard her song. You can clearly tell she's Jamaican and Asian. Right? Anything her name.
Wow.
But she gonna get up. Tyson Beckford is. Speaking of him, that's why I always joke with you about the shower posse. Like that was a real thing out there.
I don't know.
I got you.
What is the shower posse?
I'm not exactly sure. This is the first time I've heard of.
So the shower posse was we mentioned earlier off air about the games. So shower posse was a group of guys who, when they did get to the United States in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, the Americans was bullying the Haitians and the Jamaicans. Let's be real.
Okay.
So. But once they got their foot in the door and they kind of got into the drug trade, they became ruthless, and they got the name shower posse because they was killing some of their enemies or innocents in showers. They cut your head off, whatever they do, boom, boom, and so they got that notorious name.
Oh, shower posse.
Yeah, and what's name was actually a member of them. He spoke on that one of his last TV interviews, Tyson Beckford.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so but I don't think he cared about it, but he was part of that clique. So I'm like, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's so I always want to know, like, then when they got over here, I can see how Haitians and Jamaicans connect because they already get bullied, but then that you being bullied and you become the bully.
Yeah.
Once money get involved.
Hurt people.
Yes. That's true, man. Okay, so you didn't came to Jamaica in New York. Okay, so you're living that New York life. How's that transition?
So first thing you notice is that it's cold.
Yeah.
And then things are just kind of close by. They're just in walking distance. Public transportation is very accessible. It's New York.
Correct.
Most Jamaicans, they do migrate to New York. They also migrate to Florida. My uncle lives out there, but a lot of them also come to New York, and
I never understood it. It's far.
Yeah,
It's very far.
Yeah.
Like, you skip over Tennessee and Kentucky, and you go straight to New York. Like, why do you think they choose to go from Jamaica to New York?
I think it had to deal with what's his name, Marcus Garvey.
Marcus Garvey. Okay.
Yeah. He was like he was one of the 7 national heroes in Jamaica, and when he came here, there's something political he did that I'm bad with history.
He was trying to make everything, Pan American. He's like, Dr. Umar, I learned it from listening to Dr. Umar.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Oh yeah.
Garveyites and all that were big on being Pan African. So that's probably why he just want to have a whole thing there. And he was trying to get a lot of blacks to go back to Africa too at the time. Some wanted to, some didn't. But Garvey was cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was cold.
Yeah. And so I think that probably led to people coming to New York.
Safe place.
Yeah, safe place. It's not just Jamaicans that are a lot of Jamaicans in New York. You'll also find a lot of Haitians and even Africans. Like a lot of different black cultures.
Right.
And when I went to junior high school there was one other Jamaican there. And there are a couple other Haitians, a lot of Spanish people. But then when I went to high school, there were a lot of Jamaicans, a lot of Haitians, a lot of Trinidadians, a lot of different people from Caribbean that are there. The school is like 95% black.
Right. Sound like my child.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, I've never, until Rihanna came out, I had never heard of she's a...
Barbadian.
Barbados. I heard of Barbados, but never seen the person who...
Makes
who's
sense.
from,
Yeah, I think Canada, she might be Barbados. She kind of look like Rihanna.
Riri.
But, Riri,
Right.
Cece. But I didn't know though, man. But she, but she kind of still got that dialect like how y'all have.
Nicki Minaj.
Nicki
too.
Minaj.
Yeah.
Trinity. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, we're gonna hold up on to New York. I'm gonna get your wife and see her journey, man. So, Miss Baugh, you from the West Coast.
I'm from the West Coast. Come on, E40.
Oh, E40. Man, E40. Bay Area.
Little Snoop. We talked about Snoop earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what part of the West Coast you from?
So I'm from Las Vegas.
Okay.
Now we have the Raiders. It's so different. It's a different place. We're gonna have the Super Bowl, I heard, in Las Vegas. But when I was born there, it was a casino, and then it was like the kids. There wasn't much to do. I remember being a kid growing up there. I went to Wet n Wild.
Okay.
And it was like a theme park, and then they tore it down to make like a bigger casino.
Yeah.
And now, like years later, they brought back Wet n Wild. Are you kidding me?
Right.
But I grew up kind of like I didn't know about a lot of cultures.
Okay.
Like I knew like black, Mexican, white. My parents, they wanted better. So my parents both are from hoods. My dad's from the hood of Pittsburgh. My mom grew up in the hood in LA / the hood of Las Vegas. And so growing up, I guess I don't want to say that I was whitewashed, but when I was little, I didn't know that I was black because I grew up with so many white kids. It sounds very, very sad.
I got you.
But it was just very like, just growing up in the community, like trying to belong. But I felt like there was not many kids that looked like me.
Right.
So my mom, when she found that out, she's like, nah, you're not my child. I'm gonna take you to the Boys and Girls Club. So I felt like the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, the rec center was kind of like my outlet and exposed me to like my culture. But like I never really had understanding. So like growing up, my sisters and I, like people were like, you talk white, like you like, in the black community, and then the white, they're like, you ain't white, you black. So it was like trying to figure it out, like, okay, like am I? So because my mom, she just like, she's like, drop me off in the hood, you take an African dance. Like she submerged me in the culture. She never really had conversations.
I got you.
It was more so like I had to kind of figure it out. And so like after trial and error in many wrong ways, I was like, you know what, no, I am a black woman and I need to navigate this. And so I dealt with a lot of insidious racism being in Nevada. I remember my guidance counselor told me, like, don't go to college. You're not going to make it in college. You're better off working at the casino. And so I remember my mom being like infuriated because my mom from a young age, she wanted more for me. She wanted us to have access that she never had. So she got me involved in like the youth council. Like I was a youth council rep for Southern Nevada. She got me into politics. So I would do like, political canvassing and things like that. And then like, I went to galas and she wanted to like expose us. Like I was in the ACA team. She really was like, you need to be part of a youth group. So when she found out that guidance counselor told me that I wasn't going to go to college, she was just like, that's not cool. So she came, like her, my aunt, they came to the school, and we had a parent-teacher conference. And so from that moment, it was like like people doubting me, it drives me. And so I really wanted to go to a HBCU. I wanted to go to Spelman. So I came like when I was in high school. I went to Atlanta for like a couple of months, and not really a couple months, a couple weeks. It felt like a month. My godmom and my goddad's actually from the Caribbean. He's from the Virgin Islands. And my godmom, she does sister locks. And so I went to Georgia. They took me to Spelman. I was like, oh, it's so nice. I want to go. And then I visited in Howard. So I was thinking that I want to go to Howard. But my grades weren't the best. Coming from Vegas, we didn't have the best education system, and I wasn't as focused. I was more of a networker, more like, more a C student. So I ended up going to UNLV in Las Vegas. I studied communications and political science. And then after college, I just realized that Vegas is just a town where it's like great but you can just be very comfortable. A lot of my friends, like, they had settled at the casino, or they had like dropped out of school, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna work at the casino, and like, or I'm gonna get another job. For me, it took me a long time to graduate, but I finally graduated, and I knew there had to be more. So I thought I was gonna go to DC, work in politics, but it just wasn't God's plan. So I ended up moving in 2014 to New York City. And when I was in college, I had a wild past, and I decided that when I moved to New York that I wanted to focus on God. I had done all the things the crazy way. I had dated and been a little wild in school. But I felt like I was lost. Like I was at a place where I was like, you know what, I really need God. And like I had graduated with a degree. I was working at a dead-end job. I was working at Sears at the mall, making like $6 an hour, selling TVs. And I was like, this can't be life. And my mom was like, why are you acting like you owe somebody money? Like, you're acting like this is like life or death. And I'm like, this is life or death for me. So New York really was such.
When you got the degree in your mind, like, I
paid for this. I'm working at the mall, and I got fired of all things at the mall. I got fired. So that was like my lowest point. I was like, this cannot be real. So I remember Jayla, my sister, she was living in New York, going to St. John's. And so I was like, you know what? I want to be close to her. She's there. DC didn't work out. I didn't get the job in DC. So I ended up going to New York. I bought a one-way ticket, like in 2013. I told people, joking, like, oh, I'm out. And at this time I lived at home. My mom's like, you're not leaving. You're scared. Like, you can't go out there. But I didn't tell them that I had already bought a one-way ticket. And so I was applying to jobs, and I ended up getting a corporate job. It was crazy. Like in that 2014, like early in the year, I got a job to work for Verizon Bios, so like a territory manager, and they offered me a salary, and it was like $40,000. But coming out of college, coming from like Sears, I was like 40. I didn't even negotiate. I was like, yes. So I ended up moving to New York February 2014. It was like the best decision I ever made.
That's good. So wow. So
that was a lot.
It's a lot, but I can see that whole vision, man. One thing I want to say, I didn't realize how much impactful the casinos is in Vegas. Like a lot of people come out of high school, probably that's their dream thing, and the times I've been in Vegas, and I know it's like, all those people that's working there may know people at. But I wonder this one thing though, since you're from out there, you mentioned you went to high school with a lot of blacks, Mexicans, and whites, but where the Native Americans at?
So funny you ask. Like my family, they have parts of it, but it was due to the freedom laws. Like in Oklahoma, so they had like the Freedmen Act gave them land. So my great aunts, they would talk about it, and then my great grandfather, he would talk about it. He'd be like, "I'm a sexy Native American black," and then my some of my family members, like they would tell me about it, but I didn't really know. And I feel like every black person is mixed with Cherokee. We all got some Cherokee. So I did, as I found out later in life, I was able to do the ancestry. I was able to link it back to the Choctaw Nation in Oklahoma, but still more African, which is great. And some white.
Alvera, we were just talking about. Them Choctaw might have really been us anyway.
That's so true. I watched Hidden Colors.
Hidden Colors, they just put the Indian word on there. They really just throw us off.
But a lot of them on the ancestry test, you won't find it because a lot of them they don't do those tests. So it says like 1%.
Owns the ancestry stuff too.
Who?
The Mormons.
Yes.
So they don't want.
That's so true.
I'm in Utah. So
interesting.
Yeah. So you got that part, but. Man, that's wild. So, I know a little bit about Vegas, man. Like, I've been out there, about Bishop Gorman. I mean, that was
so a lot of my family members would go there. They went there.
Football school.
Yes.
And then, like I said, my time when I was in the league, just going out there, having a wild streak myself. Just Vegas is Vegas.
Yeah.
It's wild.
But before even that, my only association with Vegas, even before I was old enough to go, was Tupac dying out there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I always thought about that. And being from the South, I can't speak for everybody in the South, but I know they used to put like a little fear in us in the South. Like, man, Nashville, what y'all see now, is not what it always been.
Yes, I've heard that many times.
Right, we city folk, but we were still kind of semi-country folk. And we used to look at Vegas, that's big city stuff, man. I don't want to get involved, same thing like New York.
Like the mob, maybe.
Yeah, what Vegas is built off the mob.
It is.
So it's like, man, so that's wild. So, you in New York, both of y'all in New York.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did this union come together? Yeah.
So we met at church.
Okay.
So like my introduction to the church was from my brother. There's a church movement called ICOC, stands for International Churches of Christ, and he was part of the Jamaica branch, and he was a part of it there. And so at some point in time he moved to New York for school, and at some point in time I moved there to live. And when he moved, he was in the New York branch, particularly the Queens region, and I started to go there. I didn't necessarily want to go there because I wasn't necessarily focused on God or church or anything. Even though I did go to church when I was in Jamaica.
You just there?
Yeah, I was just there.
That's all.
My brother mentioned it. I wasn't necessarily for it, but my friends were like, "You're going," so it was like, I just went. And so after a year of going there, I got baptized, and but before getting baptized, I learned a lot. I was like, "Wow, this is what I've been doing to God. This is how I thought I was good, but I wasn't good." And so I changed my life around and started to try and make my life better. So from age 14 when I got baptized all the way to when I met her, we met at 2000.
Probably 2015.
2015. So I was I think maybe 27 around that time. Anyway, the math doesn't matter. So
we were messed up ages. Really.
Yeah, man. Wow, right. So 15.
Yeah, you still 35.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
37.
Man, shoot us. 15. We wasn't at lower 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there for that long in the church, and then she came along, and then she's come from Vegas. She was there. She got baptized after us
in 2014.
In
April.
So, and then after some time in 2016, was it? Yeah, that's when I actually met my girlfriend, and the year after that.
Before that, Jerome's on the high level version. Very, very high level version.
Right.
But when we first met, I could not stand Jerome.
That's how it works. Okay.
That just sounds so funny. But so for me, I first coming from Vegas to New York, I knew Vegas was my Sodom and Gomorrah kind of moment. And I was like, dang, I gotta get out. I can't look back. I gotta look forward. It is, it's a whole nother story.
Right.
Sorry, Vegas, but it just is what it is. So when I came to New York, I was like, I gotta live right, and Satan was really trying to get me back. And I was like, no, I gotta stay focused. I gotta focus on God. I can't be focusing on codependency. I can't look for value outside of God. And so I had recently broke up with somebody. It was not the best relationship. So when I was in when I was in New York, I was like, you know what, I'm not focused on anybody, but I thought some people were cute. Like, oh, he kind of fine, okay. So when I met Jerome, we were ushering together. And Jerome is very blunt. That's one thing about just Jamaican culture. Yeah. Jerome doesn't have a filter, which I appreciate now, but at the time I did not appreciate.
I want you.
Because more in the back in Vegas, people they beat around the bush. They're not so blunt. So when Jerome and I first met, he was like, "Do you edit your Facebook picture?" I was like, "Do you edit it?" I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, you look lighter. You look lighter in your picture than you do in person. Are you sure you don't edit the photo?" Basically calling me a catfish. And I was like, "What?" I was like, he's like, "Is this for you?" He's like, "No." And I'm like, he's like, "Wait, but what kind of iPhone do you got? What kind of phone?" I got the same phone. And I was like, "Who is this guy? What?" It was what? what? Like, is this your way of like trying to hit on me, or are you just trying to insult me? Like, I don't understand.
Right.
So I just was like, no. And so it just so happened that the sisters in my church, they were like trying to tell me, LASHAE, you need to let these guys come over, be like chivalrous and paint your room. I was like, I don't need that. I can do it myself, because I'm like the type of woman like I was like, I can do it myself. But I was just like, you know what? Let me be humble. Let me grow. And so I had asked a whole bunch of guys, including like a guy I liked at the time, and he was like grumbling. Like, I don't want to do this work. This is hard labor. This is moving work. And then Jerome was like super like eager and happy to do it, like super serving.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
Because I speak on this even on the podcast, you know, and conversations I've had. I told you know, I'm gonna go ahead. These conversations I have in life about with our black sisters when it comes to the certain guys that they'll talk to. Now, granted, I ain't gonna say you put you in that box.
No, you can put me in there. I mean, we'll see.
Right.
Let's find out what they can do.
There's plenty of men like that.
Yeah.
But then you still hear black women say, "Well, ain't no good men out here."
You're so right. And I was like that. Like, I was like, the guys that I went for were very low, like as far as just like toxic.
Yeah.
And then the good person was like right in front of me. So it took me a minute to get there. Just being honest.
But a year. It wasn't long like the people I'm seeing out in this world.
It took me, but I had to do it through God. And that was the thing. So it was like when I first met Jerome, like after that, like just seeing him, at first I still couldn't see it. And I remember like we ended up talking, and Jerome was like, you know what, I really want a good friend. And I had been praying for a good guy friend that wasn't awkward, that we could just be friends with, like super like platonic. And so it was like, it wasn't a cheat day for you, because Jerome was like into fitness. He was like, this isn't my cheat day. So I ended up getting pizza for the other guys, and then I ended up taking Jerome to Subway at the time. We don't eat Subway no more, but back then we had some Subway. And so we became friends. But I just remember like being in Virginia Beach and like praying by water. My mom was like, if you ever want to hear from God, go pray by a large body of water. And I was like, God, I surrender this area to you. And I honestly feel that Jerome's been I know he's been the greatest blessing to my life. And he changed the trajectory of my life, right? Because I just like a prime example. I struggle with anxiety, like freaking out, right? Like when they're planning events, like I'm like, I gotta do this, and Jerome will see it and he'll just start washing the dishes. Like he just has a calm spirit, and I feel like sometimes you need people to balance you out. Like you need your helpmate, but it's not always what you think you want, it's what you need. And like Jerome likes somebody at the time too. Like you like somebody completely different. And I feel like we balance each other out. Like, so just to see, like, I can't picture my life without him. But in that moment, like, I couldn't picture my life with him. So it's crazy, but I would say that that area you got to surrender. Because we know, it's kind of like our minds can be deceitful. We think we know what we want. We end up following that same pattern over and over and over again. And sometimes you just got to say, okay, wait, is it me? Like, you know, like Taylor Swift, like, is it me? Am I the problem? Sometimes, yes. Yes, you are.
I've said that, you know, we developed too much on the ego side. And we feel like, oh, no, this ain't what I want. It's like, this ain't, God wasn't in that. He know what I like. No, he knows you. That's why he's trying to take you away from that. So that's Okay. So y'all start dating. When did y'all make that decision where we're gonna take this to the next level?
It was in 2019. Yeah. So 2019 I asked her and she said yes, and a few months later we got married.
Okay. But we were celibate, and that was one thing that was super hard. Like coming from Vegas, coming from doing things my own way. That was one thing that I didn't think I could do. Like, I don't think I could be celibate. I didn't think I could do things the right way. And people were putting fear, like, oh, you never know, you got to try it. And so that was one of the things. Forever, you never know. I love you, mama, but mom. You know, it's just like, and so with us, we were just like, we got to do things. Like, if we're going to do things, we got to change up the way we do things. And so we dated for like 2.5 years, and it wasn't easy. But I feel like we really got to know each other as friends, because that wasn't something that and that was missing in my previous relationships, because it was just like we said that we were going to be pure, and it just was like just to put ourselves in bad situations. So we had a plan. And like Jerome would take me home, but he couldn't come inside after a certain time. We had boundaries. We set up certain boundaries so that we could just focus on being friends. And because of it, like when we got to that point, like I think I was asking you like early 2019, I was like, Jerome, so you know, like we've been doing this for a while, like when do you see yourself, like, you know, what do you see for us? And John's like, what happens if I told you it was this year? So I'm thinking like December. Jerome was like, April. And then I was like, because we never talked about like the timeline.
Yeah.
So then I'm thinking that we gonna get married like in 6 months, 9 months, you know? He's like, nah, we getting married tomorrow. I'm like, what? Get married right now. And at the same time, I'm ready. I'm ready to get married right now too. We ain't got time for this. We ain't got time.
I love it.
So yeah,
that's real. Yeah, that desire will push that. Stop playing. They're gonna. But okay. So y'all get married. When y'all decide to leave New York though?
It was last year.
Okay.
Yeah, things were becoming very different. My wife didn't like it a lot because, well, you want to talk about this part, or you mind if I talk about it?
I know. We got to be real, but it was just getting crazy for us.
So, she's a teacher, and at that time, like the pandemic shut down everything, and so you couldn't go to school. I mean, she couldn't go into work, so she taught remote for a whole year. Then, after they lift the ban, people could come back into the school, but they're only allowed people to come back to the school if you were vaccinated, and if you weren't vaccinated, you weren't allowed back. But they gave like that month period grace for anyone to like get it, and my wife and I, we didn't take it. So she was allowed to teach up until that month period passed, and so she had to teach remote. But before that, they were trying to kick her out. Like kick her out the whole teaching system completely, but she fought it. She had a legal battle with the school. Well, not the school, but the whole school system, and she won the case. Okay. She got someone who was a lawyer who was talking about the whole thing about the vaccines and how it's not good for you from a physical standpoint and from a spiritual standpoint, and
I'm glad y'all standing on that.
Yeah, and because at the time you could get either a religious exemption or a medical exemption. She got a religious exemption, and she was able to stand on the case and win. And so as a result, she was able to continue teaching, but she had to teach remote. But then afterwards, the school system or the school superintendent changed, and so the new person that came in, it was Peggy something.
Yeah, we won't say her name, but
yeah, okay, yeah. So she changed things around. So and so after that, she had to teach remote inside one of the old school buildings, and this one. So she had to go to a old school building to then teach remote to the kids that were
like live, teaching the kids live.
Yeah,
kept moving the needle.
Yeah,
wow.
and this old building was very bad, like
asbestos.
Yeah, asbestos mold, things that she's allergic to.
Lead, paint, and walls.
Yeah, and it's like they had toilets there that were made for like kindergarten kids, not for adults, right. And so that's what.
It still had white only time.
Yeah, they did it for a minute. They had the vaccinated and unvaccinated. Yes. And no matter where you stand, my thing was like, if I don't want to do it, right? And that was like the first time like standing up for something.
Right. Okay.
And I know we all got our fights. At the end of the day, I don't knock you if you take it. Don't take it. Don't matter. But for me, I was just like, I'm not going to do it too. Jerome and I are also vegan, and we just are very mindful within our bodies. And in New York, the climate was just so different. And so we came to Nashville, it was like a different place. My sister lived in Nashville. And we're just like, this is not a good opportunity for us. Like, if we're going to stay in New York and have to like deal with this over and over again, it's not going to be the best. So we moved to Nashville. I did teach in Nashville for a year. And I knew that I was transitioning outside the classroom too. So it was kind of like, but I feel like that kind of pushed me fast because I saw people who were with the DOE for years. Like one shocking and jarring moment was a woman, she had worked for the DOE for 22 years. She just retired. She had cancer and she passed away. The same people that I saw bad talking her and putting her down, like they were the same people like hugging her family at the funeral. And it's like, you can't put your faith in a job, no matter how you look at it. And so that honestly, that was like the biggest thing that we had to do, like the biggest battle. But if like we got our LLC during that time. We started our own like business. Like I was doing like, you know, interviews on Facebook, like doing clay artists. So even though it was a horrible time, we don't want to go back there. It was a time where we were at home, we had to figure things out, and we had to decide, like, am I going to put my faith in this job, or am I going to lean for something better?
Right.
And so through it, I think in coming to Nashville, we've had highs and lows. You know, like we started off really high. We thought we were like, let's be bougie. You know, New York is expensive. Let's move into let's live into like the nicest building that we can,
right?
So we can network, like, you know. And so then changes happen. You know, job losses happen, and then it's like, okay, can we afford it? Oh no. Oh shoot, what we gonna do? You know, how are you gonna survive?
Right.
And so I just feel like just in relying on God, and it hasn't always been easy for me because I put faith sometimes in what I can see, a lot of times. But, you know, that's what led us kind of to becoming more entrepreneurial through it.
Okay. So I'm glad you segued into that, man. So let's speak on that. When it comes to entrepreneurship in y'all business, what all do y'all break down to? I know you got the teaching. I never really got into everything that you do, Jerome, but here's a platform to explain that.
Yeah, so, like right before she said yes to be my girlfriend, like she was vegan, and she never asked me to become vegan. I was thinking to myself, in order to support her on her vegan journey, that I would be vegan, and so that's one of the reasons why I became vegan, and also just for the health benefits. Wasn't perfect at first, and I'm a lot better than I am now. But you know, I find things out, and I'm like, okay, wow, so this is what should happen, and it's like. One of the crazy things that happened to me, like literally 1 month after I became vegan, like I had a knee injury a while back from playing basketball. Someone had ran into my knee and I had a partially torn meniscus as a result. And so I just couldn't put pressure on my knee like I used to. And this was like, I was having this pain for like over a year.
Okay.
And you know, I tried not working out, and then I tried working out. It
didn't matter. Yeah.
Didn't matter. The pain was still there. I mean, it went away slowly, but it was like at this level where it just wasn't moving after I started to work out. But after I became vegan, pain went away. And so it's not 100%, but it's like very close to it, like 95%.
Defeating inflammation.
Yeah. And so like doing things like jumping or doing lunges with weights, you know, that was hard for me.
Very strenuous.
Like I had to wear knee braces. And after being vegan, I tested it out.
What was your weight at the time?
I was 195.
You was 195 and heavy up. Dang. Okay.
And so so just doing things like that. I just wore knee braces, and you know, after being vegan for about a month, like I felt like things in my knees were just different. So I just tried working out without a knee brace, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Don't have to wear knee braces anymore. So I just kept on going with that, and I felt like this is something sustainable that I could do. At the same time, it was helping me to live with her at some point, because you know I'm
used to this type of food.
And it's funny. Funny enough, even this part too. On the day that I became vegan, I went vegan on Thanksgiving Day.
And Jerome's family, they can throw down. They still
jerk chicken.
Yes, so
all of it.
So so my mom, she had made duck, ham, turkey, black cake. She made something else.
Your mom can cook. His mom will make me probably not.
Yeah. So this is how good my mom cooks.
She does.
When she cooks for someone and you know they have her food for free, they want to pay for it.
Exactly.
That's how good. That's how good she cooks.
You want to bring mom out here?
Yeah. And she's self-taught. Like she didn't go to a school to learn anything. It was just self-taught. And she served many different types of people. You know, African, white, black, all sorts of people.
So I know that's hard. I mean, I was with Candace. I saw she cooked me some chickpeas.
And Candace, are you vegan?
Yes.
Okay. You are?
Was it chickpea? What's it called? I said chickpea.
No, it was lentils.
Lentils, yeah.
Yeah, a whole bunch of vegetables.
I ate it though. I was like, okay. I had some wings with it too.
Okay.
Talking about just the taste and the flavor, right? Because we started from the bottom. Now we here, right? We didn't come here overnight.
Right.
When we first were vegan, Oreo's vegan. First off, and Dr. Sebi or Dr. CB, we went through a whole trajectory of transition. Yeah. But now I feel like we started from soy. I realized that soy is not good for me. A lot of things that I thought were okay for me, I can't eat. So we transitioned to more of a plant-based catering company, but we do keep in mind nutrition. So that was one thing with like protein, fat, carbs. Jerome, he knows like the breakdown. So we want to make sure that our food was satisfying without going to soy or other things. And so that's one thing that separates our company like apart, is that we use like real ingredients. And Jerome, like he makes his like new burger that like it's probably better than some other burgers because it's higher in protein. Like how many grams of proteins in like one of your patties?
Like 20 to 25.
Okay. So what is it?
Yeah, so it's a seasoned burger. Alright, so to give you more of an explanation, I'm gonna go just a little bit so you can understand more of where I'm coming from. So first we ate tofu and tempeh, which was soy based. And in a serving you get like anywhere between 17 and 20 grams of protein. We ate that for a while, and then found out that wasn't best for her. Then afterwards we made chicken that was, or rather, it was more like pot roast. It was from Seaton, and that was like around 20 grams. It wasn't like the best tasting, but it was still fulfilling. But she couldn't handle it because you had gluten intolerance, and so more trial and experimentation led us to making a new burger, which is still season based, but it's a lot better because we changed the base of it.
Okay.
So originally when I was making the vegan chicken, I was using beans, which is something she can't handle again.
Oh wow! So you got limited to that.
Yeah. And so I started to use walnuts as a base as opposed to beans. So walnuts had changed things for us, along with the seitan. And seitan is a protein portion of wheat, so and it comes in powder form. I use that with some other vegetables and seasonings to create it. And so, like when it comes out, like when I first bit into it, it tastes like KFC popcorn fried chicken, and it's not even fried. It's just all oven baked.
I'm about to try it.
Yeah, I'll let you be the judge.
I be a judge. I had transit. I am not a vegan though, but I cut up back in 2020. Before COVID and all that, I had took away red meat and pork.
Okay.
So I just eat chicken and fish, mainly turkey and fish. And but I instantly seen a difference in my body. I seen how I was so tired. Man, that was crazy. I wish I did that when I was an active athlete. I seen how even I had to go even when you doing number 1, number 2 was different. I said, man, this is good. So I tried to implement that to my parents. They from the South, deep South.
My parents, my dad, he just looks at me like, I am going. And that's the thing for me, because obesity runs in my family too. It's still something that I'm fighting towards, like fighting to overcome obesity, because diabetes, heart problems, those things run in my family. And so for me, I went vegan originally for digestive, but I want to be as healthy as possible. And
because that's exactly why I did, because my dad had colon cancer, so it was like, but. Like I said, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's here in the South. You got so many. You got that situation. Then here's my granny, 96. She eat everything.
Makes sense.
And she healthy.
And she healthy.
All the tea. She don't even take pills.
Wow, grandma.
So it's like,
she don't live in the blue zone.
So like that's right. So it's like then you got my dad would be like, well, look, your granny, my mama. I said, you're right. Yeah, she's 96. No problem. So it's like, So but I did it for that, knowing off the fear of my dad having a colon cancer. I said, let me switch it up here. You know what I mean? And I've been good. But
I tried to put my granny on. She be getting so mad at me. She like, this is fake food. I be like,
come on now.
You know it is. It is like a lot of vegans. They don't know how to season. Sad to say, they don't know how to season. And for me, when I first ate chicken, I was taught by my mom how to season and how to cook. So a lot of those lessons that I learned from her, I brought into making vegan chicken. And so the main thing as far as taste is your seasoning. If your seasoning's not good,
It's gonna taste bland.
it's gonna taste bland.
That's raw food too.
yeah.
Even meat.
Yes, even me too. And then the other thing too is that a lot of vegans they don't know how to eat them. They don't get a lot of protein, and so it doesn't become a sustainable diet.
Well, let me ask you this: Why do some of the Arab brothers and the Eastern Africans, why they don't don't really become vegans? They might have like a higher level of meat, like what called Hanan. Am I saying it right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like the chicken would be like a
halal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, halal.
Like
okay.
what's the difference with them? More organic.
They don't have
or
processed
Yeah,
in the
so
same way.
I'd say it's based on where you get it from. Like if you get it from America,
You already know
Yeah.
what it's going to.
Yeah.
Sadly.
if you get it from outside America, you have a better chance.
Right.
Because you mentioned Usain Bolt a while back. Like Usain Bolt, like he pretty much eats the same thing that any other track runner in America would eat, but it's a higher grade level, and so
Same thing with LeBron.
yeah, and so it's like when he spoke about his diet, people want to like go to the anti-doping agency and have his food banned, and it's like it's regular food, but your food in your country is just bad.
I've been trying to tell my dad this. My dad's a former track star in his own right.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Back in the 60s and 70s, and he was in the Navy too. And he hated them when we lose. That shooting roster, Dad. But my cousin JC, we first cousins. We actually a year apart, but we came in 07, but he won 89. And he actually ran track at Baylor. And he told me, he said, man, he said, they just different, bro. He said some of them are cheating. He's not all drinking, and he said some of the Americans are cheating. He said, but what you just said about the higher eating, the higher level, is something, you know what I'm saying? And that's why he hasn't got in trouble.
Yeah. And
I mean, well, I'm gonna throw it out there. Yeah, that too. But also, I will say that even if he got in trouble, it would kill the sport. So he probably never get in trouble.
The other thing I would say too is like if you taste anything in Jamaica and compare it to any other food here in America, you're gonna taste the immediate difference.
I heard about every country. Yeah,
it's not in there.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Have you been to Hawaii?
Oh yeah, Hawaii too.
Oh, you gotta go.
Yeah, so
it's wild.
So
like just the taste, the fruit.
Yeah, so the fruit alone, it tastes very similar to what I had in Jamaica. Like she had pineapple out there, and it was like, yeah, this is how pineapple in Jamaica tastes. It's like, wow, I've never.
I just seen something on Facebook about how a person made a post about how the Americans' fruit look different than others. Like, what's the original look? Like, our orange look like how we've been seeing it, but it's supposed to look like a blood orange.
Yeah, and you used to talk about green pumpkin, how pumpkins in Jamaica are green.
Yeah.
They even say the bananas they're not.
Yeah, the burrow.
Yeah.
I think that is like once you I think for me, I'm okay to question what we've been taught, right?
Yeah.
Because like the things we've been taught, it's just like kind of like a brainwash. But once you start to see life outside of you, and I think that's what some of the danger is. So I think the fear of being brainwashed is like, you're brainwashed if you can question if you've been brainwashed. So like we've been brainwashed by commercials just with the food industry, with the pyramid, the food pyramid. Yeah. And I don't want to go too deep.
Yeah.
But you don't want to go, but what I'm saying is like that all these discoveries have led us to where we are today. And it goes back full circle. And it's just crazy because growing up, I ate TV dinners. I cooked in the microwave. I ate McDonald's, all the things. KFC, everything you can imagine. When I married Jerome, I was trying to cook something in the microwave. Jerome was like, what are you doing? I was like, what? I was like, what? I can cook in the microwave. Jerome was like, you can't cook that in the microwave. You got to cook it on the stove. I was like, what? I've been cooking in the microwave my whole life. Like, I think even in my dorm room I was making food. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, brother. But it's just amazing how, like your grandmother, like you talked about her, like, being 96. But when she was around too, she still had some.
But she's still around.
Yeah, she's still around.
Okay.
But she still had some good food. Like she still had food that was not so processed.
When she was younger.
Because like McDonald's, you think how old they are. You know what I mean? So she still lived in a generation. Yeah, so she still lived in a generation where the farm town.
Right. Farm town. She's from Hartsville, Tennessee. She moved to Nashville like in 1940 something. Which made ever sense. But though, when stuff did come out, she still indulged in it.
Makes sense.
She said eat chitlins.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
My family loves chitlins.
I did it one. I mean, I still do,
No,
but I cut it out since I said the Remy pork. I miss it, but I know it ain't good for you.
I know.
So just to kind of like
I'm like,
just to go back to
smell.
like your original question, like the entrepreneurship and like how we're getting started. So it's like I see this vegan thing that we're doing, and it's like with cooking and with what we know. Mm-hmm. We come here and we see like there are restaurants that we like a lot when we were back in New York, and when we came here we just didn't see those same quality. So it's like wow, let's try and do something, right? And so
the only black one I know is Southern V.
Oh yes, good. And there's Radical Rabbit.
Okay, and they need to bring what's that? Was Slutty Vegan need to come out here?
Yeah.
Man, I hope they do.
So it was by the grace of God that we even started like getting in the store. Like we literally walked into a shop and we were looking for vegan food. We were looking for a vegan option. And so the owner of the store, it's like in one shop. She was like, if you can give me some samples, then we can see about you being in the store. So for me, all you gotta do is tell me that one time. Like all I see is opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I started with our vegan cinnamon rolls, and so we made
some. It was good, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So we made some cinnamon rolls, and we let her try it. She's like, "Listen, you can sell them outside of our store." So right now, we have one product in the store. We have vegan cinnamon rolls, vegan cookies.
That's how it starts.
That's how it starts.
Yep.
But our goal is to do vegan catering and just provide options, even for people who are not vegan. For example, you may know somebody like us. You may be at like a Thanksgiving.
They got their own vegan catering.
You may be at a Thanksgiving and you might be like, I need to get something vegan from one of my friends, like a vegan side. You can be like, hit us up. We'll be able to service you. But the main thing is just sharing the wealth of knowledge and just providing more options.
Mm. What's the name of the company called?
A Baugh Wildflower Vegan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's kind of like the bohemian. Like I like to think of myself like a bohemian, and then wildflowers, they just grow. And so that was kind of the inspiration, is like being a boho wildflower. Like we all are so unique and so different in different ways. So like for me, I'm a wildflower. I'm just gonna grow. And sometimes when people like try to choke you out, like you have to learn how to grow despite it. Like a rose that grew in the concrete. Right. So that's kind of like the vision of boho wildflower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna make me turn.
We're gonna get you some good food. I'm sure you're gonna throw down for Thanksgiving.
I'm still thinking, but throughout the rest of the year, I'm gonna still get right. I mean, being a former athlete, man, I weigh 220 right now. So, it was so hard to get to that.
Okay.
Man,
were you always in shape your whole life?
Yeah, I've always been an athlete my whole life.
Okay.
So, but when I got to college, I was 185. I left. When I went to Arizona, I knew that's I had some weight. So I ended up gaining. Became 205 when I left at JUCO, and then I got to TSU. I maintained at 205 until the next level came, and I said, hold on, I gotta get some more weight than this, because they are hitting me. So I got to 215, 220 and stuck there. But okay. Man, entrepreneurship, marriage, that's the key right there. So let's get into y'all spirituality though, man. Like what keeps the glue for y'all together, and then what's y'all feelings about the world right now when it comes to that whole climate of religion or spirituality? Like, what's your thought process on that?
Let's start. Okay. Just right now, just like with our walk, we need community. I think sometimes it's so easy to I grew up in the culture of like whatever happens in this house stays in this house. And I feel like when you have that kind of mindset, you can get stuck, right? You can be going through. I don't think everybody needs to know your business either. I don't think your family needs to know everything that's going on. But we have spiritual mentors. Like we met with them this morning. They kind of guide us. They help us, and they've been married for 20 plus years. Okay. So they kind of they're very influential in our lives. As far as Christianity today, I just feel like there's so much people that just use that term loosely. And so a lot of the community, there's a lot of church hurt. There's a lot of people who feel just kind of slighted or just they don't understand. But I think ultimately, if Christ was still here, he would preach love. He would preach love and acceptance, but at the same time, I don't think that this world mirrors. We talk about Vegas and different things. I feel like there's a choice. There's two sides of the coin, right? And there's just so much distractions. And so for me, I'm not perfect by any means. I'm a hot mess still, but I'm just a hot mess with God. Before,
but she said something. I was going to Jerome, but she said something that I think that. man, I hope I don't get for this. I think on the Christian walk, too many Christians are they're so stuck in the New Testament. And and to be honest with you, the New Testament is really giving people that less fear they didn't have. Like if you went to about the Old Testament, it'll be a lot more, people be more in line a little bit because the fear. You see how God's wrath, he was mad.
Yeah.
New Testament's kind of like, even though
it's more soft.
he died by sin, boom, boom, and, well, he gonna forgive me, that. But they don't still understand that he's still a jealous God in a sense.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
And the love is love thing comes up, and I feel like that whole term has got a lot of people like, okay, well, it shouldn't be, we'll be all right. We at some point I can make it right, instead of just walking right then. Like the Old Testament kind of gave that
fear.
You know what I'm saying? So, but Jerome, what's your thoughts, man?
So, I understand what you mean with like Old Testament versus New Testament. Like God having you'll see more of God's mercy in or rather what's portrayed. You'll see more of God's mercy in the New Testament as opposed to the Old Testament. But the thing is that the way I see it is he's balancing both sides. Like you think about Israel when they're traveling, Israel was in the wilderness for 40 years and still didn't make it to the promised land. But God was patient with them for those 40 years. Who was going to be patient with someone for 40 years?
Well, he was patient.
Yes.
But he made some of them fall between the cracks.
Yes.
So it's like, that's the part I feel like, I feel like our churches are, especially black churches, they preaching us happy. And not telling the whole story.
Yeah,
so it was 40 years, but he was patient. But he also had that rod there when they try to go back to the Egyptian ways with the golden calf, they're worshiping all that, and he opened up the ground, they fell through. So they don't speak you're right. So the patience is there, but they. And I think people they scapegoat with that. Not you just don't worry he knows time. I got time. I get it right.
Can y'all break this down? What it means, the fear of the Lord? Because when I think, saying love is love, God and everything, God is love. What do you think this fear factor comes in? Because when I'm thinking where you're coming from, the fear in the Old Testament, I feel like it was to provide structure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like fear in the Lord. Like, what does that really mean? Because I'm even asking this for myself. I just want to know. Because I guess I've always been kind of confused. Like, I'm supposed to be scared of God or what? Like, what? Or I'm supposed to be scared? And I feel like a lot of people do cover that. They're like, I'm not going to be scared of God. God is love. Like, why would I be scared of God?
I don't think.
I look at it as like a parent thing. Like, I fear my dad, but I love my dad.
Yeah.
So like one at a time.
Yes. So God doesn't want you to be afraid of him. He wants you to love him and respect him, and he's trying to guide you to the right path. Cause when you see fear in the Bible, it can either mean you actually be afraid of something, or you can respect something. It's all matter of going back to the original text and seeing or just reading the context of what the scripture is saying. So at times God will show you his wrath and you're afraid of that, but he's trying to help you to see that how bad this is. Going back to Israel, God was trying to not let Israel be within Egypt because he doesn't want them to be involved with pagan worship, or just
their ways and stuff.
Or any of the other things. And the same things happened in the New Testament. Yeah. New Testament didn't touch a lot to the same extent with pagan gods from what I've seen, but it still talks about to not have quarrels with each other, to not have respect your parents, respect each other, have love for each other, but don't fight over everything. But still things still happen. The whole reason why Jesus, or one of the big reasons why Jesus died on the cross, because all the religious leaders they agreed. The religious leaders they agreed that he should die because they were taking away attention from them.
From them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they themselves were the God and not the God that they were trying to.
I look at it that way,
Mhm.
and I also look at it like even outside of the people who's on top. I think the regular people also was kind of on some Sodom and Gomorrah type things too. So he had to cleanse their life. Like, let me go ahead and save them from their sins because it's getting wild down there.
Yeah.
But also going back to you saying about how Revelation, not Revelation, but New Testament might also be harsh for some things have been taken out too, like the book of Enoch. You know what I'm saying? It would have opened up a lot of eyes to people about the Nephilim and the fallen angels and all that.
Absolutely.
So it would have kept people in line what not to do. Because like if you just read the book and it says man should not lay with beasts, and all, what do you mean?
Yeah.
They didn't know that it was something that was coming from that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like it was things like like people that ain't literal. No, he was trying to tell you they was doing
It's like
that.
happening in Egypt, man. It was in it.
That's why the hieroglyphs they got the animal head,
Worshiping
the
the
person
bull,
body.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that for me, when I say love is different. God's version of love is different from man's version of love. Love in an earthly sense is satisfy your flesh. It's like find your sexual desires. Love for God is putting your son up to die. It's sacrifice. It's dying. It's like it requires a different type. It's not a comfortable kind of love. And I think that when God says that he loves you, it's more of that covenant piece. And I heard a sermon about covenant and the importance in the Old Testament of the covenant. It was like with the way that the covenant was, it was like two people. It was like they would cut a bull in half and they would sacrifice, like he would be like laying and people would like walk back and forth. And they would say that if you broke this covenant, whatever happened to this bull happened to me. And so when Abraham walked through, when Abraham walked through, God told him, no, I'm going to walk through. So he said, may whatever happened to me be torn to pieces. So I think the New Testament is a fulfillment of that love, but it's not just, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to love who I want to love.
And that's what I'm saying. These new Christians
we've changed it. And I think that we need to go back to, like they have the Bema podcast and different things like that to talk about the Hebrew, like the actual real meaning.
Right.
We need to go back to the book of Enoch. We need to understand the trueness before we just say, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this.
Right.
Because we're missing the big picture.
Right, because like I'm glad you brought up Abraham. I was just going to bring up Abraham. Like he might be one of the examples there of their love. He couldn't sacrifice his son.
Yeah.
He stopped him.
Yeah.
But but that's on our. We asked the Muslims. They said it's something different.
Yeah, it's true.
They don't even think that their son was a side son. They feel like that was just a third of wife. The difference between Abraham with the Christians and the Muslims is the Muslims feel like what's her name? The maid, who we call her the maid in the Christian way.
Oh, Mary?
No.
Sarah was the wife. Hagar and the Christian, she was the maid. But in Muslim, in the Quran, that's his other wife, younger wife.
It's so crazy. And it's like because there's so much out there, right? That's another thing. It's kind of like that's.
What do you believe?
Yeah, what do you believe?
Yeah.
Which is true?
Yeah, like which one is the truth?
I know, because because the son that was funny to get killed is the one who created Islam.
Wow, that's so.
Was it Ishmael? Which one?
And then it's like Shem, Ham, and Jehoshaphat.
Yeah,
it's like how they became the nations. How those were the continents. Like for me, I'm so curious. Like I'm so interested in it.
They try to say we going. It's crazy we getting into that. Even they said in slavery that they were trying to say the Eastern Africans were saying, oh, they got the curse of Ham on them. Actually, we were the Shem.
Yeah, we are Shem.
But
that was the craziest thing. Because I thought that we were the other one the whole time. I thought we were Ham. And that's the thing. And that's the thing when like watching like things like hidden colors.
Hidden colors over that. The JV saw the same thing with that.
So I think that it's important to question. And that goes back to just knowing the Bible for yourself.
Right.
Because like my mom, we grew up in church, but we didn't really know the Bible for ourselves. And that's why I could say that I'm going to walk with God because I counted the cost of what that looks like. And it's going to be canceled. Like, you're going to somehow get canceled somehow. But I just think we're afraid to get canceled. We're afraid to say something. And it makes sense because, we're afraid.
They're afraid that, you see it in our stars, they don't go against a certain group. I won't say the names,
Yeah, we know.
So it's like, but, yeah, man, like, it go back to
it's deep.
They flipped it on us. They made us think that we was the Ham descendants. and it was, we wish him, and then that had been traded for 400 years. There's a pastor I listened to named Stephen Darby.
Okay.
Out of Louisville. He passed away. Yeah.
Okay.
Passed away. Don't know what he died from still, but he passed away like 3 years ago. Going back to what she said about growing up in church. I grew up in the church. Me and my brother, older sister and my older brother, we always we was on the drill team.
Did you play the drums?
I was never a drummer. No,
Okay.
I was in the choir though, but I ain't gonna say it. Right. Oh yeah, drill team, and then we was all that. These go to church field trips. That changed. I'm that age that when the youth changed and that, like, so growing up in the 90s, y'all went to your own respectable church. I went to a church called Mount Ariat. We went to Mount Olive. It was like these all churches had big. Your church is only gonna grow if your youth base is big.
Okay.
What changed all that, Bishop Walker, please don't get. What changed all that was when Mount Zion came in. That changed the game. All the youth
went there.
They left their own home church, went there.
Yeah.
And
they the popping church.
It was. You know what I'm saying? And then when he did, when he came, he had Kirk Franklin was popping at that moment. He had the song had just came out.
Lecrae then or no?
No, Lecrae, that's later on. But Kirk Franklin came out in like 97, 98 with the Stone.
Oh, Revolution,
yeah. And then and he had them performing.
Was that here?
Here.
Oh,
he had them perform that. So that year that he came out with Stone,
he
had them performing here at Mount Zion when it first opened up. All the whole Nashville was there. So it was like,
that's amazing.
Oh yeah,
people still go. They still hear about that church. Yeah, it's still here.
So they got 3 churches. So it was like, but at the time it just was the old one on Jeff Street and the one in Old Hickory. But now you got the one in Antioch too.
Wow.
So it's like, but going back to the past, I'm talking about Stephen Darby, man. He got a video. I want y'all to look this up.
You want to put it up?
There's a video called Negro Land.
Wow.
Man, y'all gotta watch it. It talk about, it's basically starting after the 40 years in 49.
Wow. Of the flood?
No, well, is that the Moses? Is after the flood?
Okay.
But it's when we're in, now we going into, because it's crazy. A lot of us, the people, we was actually up in that Middle East, Egypt area a lot. We didn't start venture off into the other parts of Africa, as I said, until later on. Like, you had African, you have skin folk and your kinfolk. Everybody was dark skinned or mixed. Like looked like us. You know what I'm saying? Don't mean they still your bloodline. Excuse me. So we end up trickling down into the Western Horn of Africa, the Nigeria,
Guinea, Togo,
Congo, and all that.
Yeah.
Sierra Leone, all that area.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the old maps, they didn't have those names. It was called coasts. You had the Gold Coast, the Ivory Coast, the Slave Coast.
Wow.
So when you see that, you're like, what? I promise you, it's going to blow your mind. But it's going to also explain that whole Ham and Shem thing too. Like how some of our Ethiopian and Somalian brothers, if you go back to slavery, they always say, man, it was blacks who sold us off too. I said, they was, but it wasn't what you think. It was a chess move, kind of like when the Europeans and the French came to Africa, they went to the East Coast first.
Yeah.
I don't get up, go get them. They don't want curse. It was like that type of thing.
Yeah.
So just man, they come from where they come from.
Makes sense.
They go to the East, they go to the Somalians and all that. No, we had the ones, go get them, the dark ones. Yeah. So
that's deep. But the thing is, the biggest thing is to make you forget who you are. That's Satan's biggest scheme. Like even with Adam and Eve, like that was his biggest deception, is to make them question who God told them they were and their assignment. And so it all connects. It's like when you don't know who you are, and ultimately above all, we're children of God. But above that, to lose your identity, then you go looking for it.
Then I'm gonna say this. This might be the only thing. There's 2 things I'm gonna ask you. It's gonna be the only thing we might disagree on. I don't know, and I had to do my search on it more and talk to God more. I don't think everybody is the children of God. I feel like there's a certain group that is his bloodline, point blank. But I also feel like he will allow the other groups to come in if they accept him as their Lord and Savior.
I see.
Yeah.
And I think he said that too. He said, I'll take what do you call them? What's their name? He said in the Bible.
A Gentile.
A Gentile over my own people if they. You know what I'm saying? So he's saying it there. So I don't know.
We don't have to talk. I would love if you ever doing like a talk. I'm gonna be listening to in.
Yeah.
But I'm very interested to learn. Yes.
That's always been something like
It's very interesting.
I'm like, I've always been like, but what you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so I know we're in the topic of spirituality. So this is something big, like seeing that Thanksgiving's coming up. This guy that I listen to, his name is Myron Golden. He put out this message that's called Satan's Secret Weapon, and in it he talks about like literally what Satan's secret weapon is, and it said it's the temptation of appetite, food, and gluttony. And he said, look at what the first temptation in the Bible is. It's tempting Adam and Eve to eat of the tree in the middle of the garden, and God said not to eat it, but they eventually did. And fast forward to like Jacob and Esau. Adam and Eve. So because they ate the food of the food in the middle, they lost their connection with God. So their spirituality went down. Fast forward to Jacob and Esau. Esau was the one that was born first, right?
Jacob.
So Jacob was
no.
Wait, Jacob.
Jacob was the trickster. He was married too. But
he tricked Esau out of his inheritance. So it means that Esau was born first.
Yeah. So Esau was born first, and he got taken out of his birthright because he was hungry. He didn't care about his birthright, so he gave it away to Jacob. When Jesus was on earth, the first temptation that Satan tried to tempt Jesus with was food.
He would say that shit, food is your God.
He said turn these bread
into bread.
Turn these stones into bread.
Rock into bread.
And Jesus said no. But the reason why mine brings this up is because when you look at us today, we eat ourselves into a grave. Meaning that the animals that we eat from, particularly the pig, who like pigs, shrimps. These are like things that are
scavengers.
These are
bottom feeders.
Bottom feeders. They are like God's waste management.
Yeah, they get rid of waste.
Yes,
the cockroach.
This is God's waste management, and these were put on earth to clean up the waste. But if we eat them, we're going to take on
their sicknesses.
Yeah, their sicknesses.
Yeah.
And so
that can even be translated even sexually.
Yeah. And so
the way things that people are doing.
Yeah. And so as the reason why the food affects us spiritually, because food affects our mentality. It's going to affect our energy levels, how active we are. It may influence us to do something that we wouldn't do out of character, or influence us to do something bad, So, a funny thing that Myron was saying that, and this is something that Christians or even other people will fall. Well, I'll just stick with Christians for now. He says that when people get baptized, they say, God, you can have my sexuality, my anger, my whatever my sin is, but you can't have my plate.
Wow. Yeah, I can see somebody probably saying that.
He brings that up to say that as much as we want to watch all those other things that don't deal with food, also watch our food, because the food that we intake is also going to affect us. Just as the things that we watch on TV, that affects us, or the things we listen to, that's going to affect us. Television, radio, whatever. The things we eat is going to affect us spiritually, and so if we kind of have a hyper focus towards our health and the betterment of that, we'd be a lot better. Satan's scheme won't work on us to the effect that it is working on us now.
No, really.
So like people are living to like what 60s, 70s, around there, or maybe even the 60s or 70s, and so but it's like when they get into the age, it's like people who are 70, they look like they're 80. People who are 60 look like they're 80s or even above that. People who even in their 20s or 30s, they feel old, and it's like, you're in the prime of your age. You shouldn't feel old, but they feel that way. Why? Because of the food they eat. And so, if you change what you eat, especially from when you're young, and you stick with that, you'll feel a lot better. And by the time you eat something bad, you're like, you don't want that. But if you better what we eat, we'll be a lot better off. Not saying that complete get rid of junk food. Just make the vast majority of what you eat be God made and not man made.
No, really, you're right. I wanted to, I know we've been on the spiritual talk for about a good little minute right here, but I agree with you all the way about what you're taking in. That's why the pig. I always want to know about what was the whole thing about the pig.
Yeah.
I did some more research. It's saying that the pig is a reincarnated person. This is crazy. I ain't get too damn deep down the rabbit hole.
Okay, I never heard that before, but that's
if you notice, some of the doctors now are using pig stuff for our body parts.
Wow.
Like pig skin to put it on our skin.
On people, the pig heart, then the tramp. It's crazy. So that's nuts up. But going back to what you said about Adam and Eve, and I'm getting to my savage question, man. Who is more at fault to y'all? I always gotta ask people that, especially when I'm around people who's knowledgeable of the book. Who do y'all fault more?
Who do you follow more?
Who do you fault more?
Like, who's more in fault? Is it Eve or is it Adam?
Eve was the one that was tempted first. I mean, I feel like they're both at fault. I mean, she influenced Adam, and Adam went along with it. And when they both try to present themselves before God about a situation, they're both blaming each other. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't think it would be right to see who's more at fault. You just gotta see, they're both at fault.
The reason I asked that because that shows you how people treat women or men to this day.
Yeah.
On that, even in the book.
Yeah, I think Eve. For me, I would say Eve. And I always say that, man, Eve, you jacked it up for us. You ruined it for us. But the thing about it too, I could play devil's advocate and say Adam, because I'm Adam knew how life was, but it's Eve was such a gift, right? And it's he loved her. That's his boo, that's homie. That's
Yeah.
And so I think just doing it for love, okay, she told me this is my boo. Yeah. So I still would say Eve, I trust her. Mm-hmm. But I think that Eve doubted who she was. It was just that insecurity of listening to Satan, right? Because if she knew who she was, she'd be like, nah, you ain't getting me today. I don't know who you are.
Right.
To a certain extent, because it's you a stranger. You who are you?
Well,
so I would say Eve, but I can see how people could say Adam.
Growing up, I always said Eve, but since I got knowledgeable now, I had to go against you. I think it's Adam. And I'll explain why I say Adam. God talked to Adam every day. He walked through you every day. Yeah. So I'm so Candace. I said. At the end of the day, it don't matter what she came back to you, bro. You talk to her every day. That's probably God probably told her. I don't care what she said. Yeah. What I tell you, I talk to you and walk to you every day. You know what I'm saying? And plus, that's when they bring about the weaker vessel as in the woman, because that's why the servant chose to go to her to show her something to make her think she's missing out on something. But at the end of the day, even though the servant did what he did, Adam, I talk to you every day, bro.
Yeah.
I walk.
He's more the leader.
Right, and then also I already had this order where I talk to you, you talk to one. So she get her information through you from me. Mm-hmm. So even though she came to you about that, you should correct it. I talked to you. So, but I didn't think like that when I was young. I was the women, I'm I don't know.
That's deep though, a deep question.
Because he talked to him, he said it. I walked to you, but even before he was there. It was just him and they were walking and talking.
He was there first.
Right. He just knew that he knew men shouldn't be alone or whatever. So he made her from his womb. But that's why he brought her from the womb, so she'd feel like she had an entitlement towards him. You know what I'm saying? I heard some other stories. People say, well, he had another wife before that.
I heard another husband too. It's just been a mess.
Who? Eve?
No, Adam. It's just been. I've been heard in so many different ways. I know.
I never know. I heard
Yeah, I haven't heard that one.
That's the new one right there.
Yeah.
Adam, someone Steve. No, I
You
didn't
talking about
hear
Lilith?
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam, Steve, Lilith.
Lilith. I was talking Lilith.
Yeah.
Now, Lilith, I heard of it. Now.
Yeah. And they saying Lilith actually is like Medusa, but it was like it would turn into Medusa later on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's saying Lilith was like felt like she was just too equal to Adam, wouldn't listen. So that's why he had to banish her. And they said Lilith actually came back as a serpent to get in. So I don't know.
There's so many perspectives of that, man.
Yeah.
Garden of Eve. So many perspectives.
It is. It is.
Like, which is
Yeah, but I think that it's very interesting what you said is how we perceive. I think that how we see God too is how we perceive.
Yeah.
Based off of your father or lack thereof is how you see God.
Yeah.
I think that those are important to think about. Like just saying, like, how do we see men? Like when you mention the word submission, it's like you curse somebody out. You know, like if you mention that word, then it's just like you fight. Like those are fighting words.
The world we in right now.
Yeah. Especially
it's
now.
a bad. The men don't have. We don't. If you ask some any man, we don't mind saying that we submit. I walk. That's my lady.
Yeah.
But the women right now with their empowerment, they don't like that word. They feel like they're taking less or something, or they got to take a back seat or something.
And that's not what it means.
It's not, but they don't understand. When you have sex, you're submitting. Y'all both submit.
Yeah, there's a book, and we still haven't gotten through the book, but it's called Love and Respect.
Yeah.
And it basically says that every man needs respect, and every woman needs love. And when women are not loved, they get disrespectful.
Yes.
And when men get disrespectful, they get unloving.
Yes.
And so it's like this crazy cycle.
That is true.
Crazy cycle.
Because like men,
it's deep.
Candace, I said, men don't. Oh man, you love your wife, but we didn't get married. You don't get married off of that alone.
Yeah, you can't.
You don't. Like, you know, a woman might sometimes be all, she's about, but the man would like, I'm thinking about, okay, I gotta combine finances. I gotta just, I'm fulfilling what God said I'm supposed to do anyway. All those things come in our mind when we're gonna make that step. Even in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, it's like, yeah, she's drunk off love, you drunk off of, okay, she respect me. Yeah, she let me lead her. I love her too though, but she let me lead her,
Yeah.
So,
Women, especially now in our culture, can be so disrespectful. In the sense that just tearing down and just in the movement. And so it's just, I don't know how to correct it at this point. But I think that we have to get back to some type of ness, because then it's just like, it's just a mess. It's just,
I think
it's a
that
mess.
the only way it's gonna be corrected is men gotta do better too. But on the woman's side, for them to get right, me personally, I feel like they just have to look in the mirror at their situation. If yes, women can do anything a man can do mentally and all that stuff. But if you can be independent for so long.
Yeah.
Then you're 40. What point are you proving now? And you still ain't got that guy. And women don't want to feel like, well, me having a man shouldn't define me. I said, why would you even want to think like that? Why having a man will upset you? Like it's like women that's a man shouldn't make me a woman or make me cold or something. I said, well, your cat gonna do it? I don't know what what's going on.
What do you think the man can improve on?
Yeah.
Us men gotta improve on intentions coming out of high school. When we was going back to the 20s and 30s, men was coming out of high school ready for marriage, ready to like looking for a wife actively. I think that in the last 67 years, well not 67, last 50 years, 55 years, we've been more sex driven out of high school, and not focus on trying to settle down. Like, because women are still more mature than us when we get to that age on relationship side part. But we out here like, man, I'm out of my parents' house. I mean, God, I got a little money. What are women at? And now, granted, they probably feel that same way back in the day too. But we have gotten so far. Because granted, they still, even though they might do the thing, they still was trying to get their wife early. They would get married at 21, 19, all that stuff. We're not thinking about marriage at 19. I know I wouldn't. 19, I'm trying to play football somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for the H's. You know what I mean? I ain't looking. So I think to answer your question, I think that our focus got to get back of what we want out of high school. And then we have to be more, get a career as a man so you can be able to have a family.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing too. And I think that's also one thing that's holding some men back.
You mean get a career, like they need to come out with the
mindset of,
job.
okay, I need to get a job so I can have it, so I can take care of a family.
Okay.
Well, I'll say just a little bit more than that. It's like, what do you want to accomplish in high school? Like, don't just get a degree, because you can get a degree.
Think about it, yeah.
Right.
Like, it's like, what do you want to do with that degree? What are you interested in?
Right.
And I think those are just questions that that most people at a young age don't think about.
They
Parents-
used to though. I think the
They
government.
had more access
They
to
did.
things. So if you think about trade,
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
When they took that out, and it's only been out of our schools since the 70s. When they took trades out of school, out of high schools, it left men, black men, in limbo. Now they gonna say, "What about the white boys?" I said, "Well, they still had their fathers who might already have a
trust
trade
funds.
company.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We ain't the same as them. You know what I mean? We already had trust funds, or our fathers and them when they came out. First of all, they black, so you take away trades. That's why Detroit and all that was so big, because everybody was working at the factories. It's still a trade in it too, but us, they took that away, and then we just out here just fending for ourselves. Just hope we get a job, and hope it turns out to a career.
Except the first thing we get.
Except the first thing we get,
yeah.
and then after years go by, then we start looking down upon it, because then the drugs come in.
Yeah, and it's like you got to provide at that point.
You gotta provide.
So it's like we come from the Henry Ford school system too. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like that school
Similar,
and
yeah.
just being a teacher, right? Black men get it worse because you're teaching, but it's like if you're not doing good in school, right? And if you do it too good in school, you're gonna get picked on. And I can't speak from a man's perspective. I only speak from my own perspective as a teacher.
Well,
And a woman can't teach a man how to be a man
Right.
to a certain extent. So for me, what I'm saying is like there has to be more options, and that's where like financial literacy, like education, because when you know, like when you come from money, you don't got nothing to worry about. You don't have that same problem. But if you're coming to
Right.
society and like there's drugs and you have your family here,
Right.
you gonna go to whatever it is to provide. It's fight or flight.
It's
We've been living in fight or flight for so long,
Yeah.
just as a people, women and men. And it's like, how do we change it? I think it does go back to school, but I think it's not just sitting in class and listening to a lecture and not having no real skills to learn. You need to learn these things. We need to learn how to manage our money. We need to know financial literacy. We need to know about multiple streams of income. Because we
Learn
follow,
how to
learn how to think,
Right.
learn how to, and that's what, how to think critically.
Yes.
Right, but like she said, like, because I can't speak for them, because y'all can answer.
Yeah.
I don't feel like y'all get bullied for being smart in class. Oh, Candace smart? No, but us boys, man. Well, I speak for myself, especially being
That happens
one
to
of
me.
the schools.
I
Yeah,
haven't
So I didn't really get bullied.
No, but you
that's what
know,
I'm saying.
so my
but-
students who are like the brightest, they would start turning up because
Yeah.
you get more respect.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're smart, then you just seem soft, like
Yeah.
sissy, like teacher's pet.
Yeah.
And so you can't even put, like, some of my smartest, brightest students were black men,
Right.
and they would never show it because they didn't. They would pretend or be like, hey, like I really did this paper on the side.
I got a childhood friend. His name is Plendale Terry.
Okay.
Plendale he's a 107 Crip while he was in school.
Yeah.
One of our star athletes on the football team.
Yeah.
He had the highest ACT score in the school.
Wow. Brilliant.
Yep.
And he had Harvard was sending him letters and shit.
Wow.
Vanderbilt. He almost went to Vanderbilt, but our
Smart.
coach did something. I ain't gonna say his name, but our coach did somewhere. The coach at Vanderbilt was going to get a dual scholarship for him and another teammate of mine. He told the coach, "Don't worry about him. Just take him."
Wow.
But he had to. But he hood now. I'm talking about
Yeah,
hood.
I'm
He
sure.
tatted face
But still,
still. I'm like,
Brilliant.
man.
the most amazing minds, Moors, mathematicians. I think first of all you got to see it possible, and I think this representation you got to see that there's more that looks like you that can be bright and smart.
Right.
You got to
right,
rebrand that.
Right.
Like just because you're a rapper doesn't mean that you're dumb. Like just because you're an athlete, 'cause there's so many stereotypes in our society.
Most of these most dope boys are super mathematicians.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be able to run a business.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
business.
It's a
Yeah.
business,
Yeah.
and then the marketing.
Right.
You gotta be able to talk to people. That's
Marketing,
communication.
Right.
Like,
Everything.
like it's everything. You can become a Mongol, and
Yeah, right.
it's
Not all smarts is academically linked.
no,
Correct.
that's so true.
Correct.
You
That's
really try to
that's
put you in a
another thing.
box.
There's our school system that, like, I feel like we're different. Like, Even as a black man, I feel like I learned different than a white boy.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like we might be more hands-on, visual.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They might can pick it up. I gotta see it first, then I can do it.
A lot of them are audible, and that's why the school system works, because you can just listen once and know, versus not being hands-on sitting. And it's like they say ADHD, and I'm a special education license, so a lot of my students, I kicked them out of special ed. I had a student, I was like, you too smart to be in this class. You just acting up. Like, get out of here.
Right.
Like in Brooklyn, like, no. Yeah. Absolutely not, because you can just get an IEP and then that follows you, and then you're brilliant and you think that there's something wrong with you, but you just learn differently. Or you're going to have ADHD. Who doesn't with technology?
Right.
Like for me, I can't focus barely. Like my phone goes off. It's like and it's just like you're just a zombie at that point.
Right.
So I think that we have to learn. There has to be resources, but I think just opening this conversation is the first step.
Yeah, it is. It is. So look, we always have a segment which is called Savage Questions. So I'm gonna ask y'all 3 real good questions then. So first one, what do y'all want to be remembered for?
So I want to be remembered for helping people physically, financially, and spiritually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to be remembered for just having knowledge from a young age. Like you can do whatever you put your mind to.
That's true.
You know, from us, like coming from teaching to entrepreneur, that's one thing that I want to just let students know. Anybody know, like you don't have to be defined by just wake up, go to school, get a job.
Right.
There's so much out there, and if you can help enough people, you don't have to worry about work. So for me, we found veganism. That's our hustle. But you can find out what brings you joy and how you can make the world better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. That was good. That's good. Second question. What role you think faith plays in your life?
Big one. I mean, if I didn't get if I didn't find God at the age that I did, I don't think I would have found her. My life would have been so much different.
What age was that?
14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, I would say the same. I definitely wouldn't be in Nashville. I don't know where I'd be. I may be in Las Vegas.
Okay.
It's just the casino. I went back to Vegas and I saw one of my good friends struggling on drugs. And in my family, it's just addiction. And honestly, my mom changed. She broke the generational curse for my family. And it's I definitely pray, but if it wasn't by the blood, I don't know where I'd be. I could be a couple places. But I'm just grateful that I did find him. I'm grateful for his plan. I'm grateful that I listened. And I still have to fight to listen every day.
Well, that's real, me and my little brother. Well, I say my sister. Yeah. She can watch it. My sister, my little brother, and me, we broke that generational curse in our family too.
Wow.
So that's big.
Yeah.
Third question. If you could ask God anything, what would it be?
Wow.
We did just talk about Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Right? Get some clarity there.
She's thinking.
Right.
I don't know if I could tie it down to one thing. Oh my gosh. I guess maybe well, I guess what I could do what insight can you give me to just be better, because he gave certain people insight back in the Old Testament about certain things, and their life trajectory changed. Like you look at Solomon. Solomon had wisdom beyond his years.
Esther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a lot of across the board.
Wow, this actually makes me feel emotional, because I think for me, I would ask God to reveal to me my life from the end to the beginning, in that order. And I feel that if he was to give me that answer, I would do things different. Wow. Because I think sometimes, for me, I live so much in the future that I don't enjoy the present moment. but I'm learning to just be more present. But I think that if he told me how it ended, I would spend more time in the present. And so it's like kind of like the answer to that is just to be present now, because I don't want to know, but I do. Like I would ask him, like, you know, like, what do I end up accomplishing? What would I accomplish? You know?
Yeah, that's real. It's crazy you said that because you mentioned my granny. You know what I mean? I wonder what she thinking, you know, in her young years. Like, when I think about like, we was reach her age, it had to be 2008 or something.
Wow.
Just think about that. Look how far that seems right now.
That seems so
And she probably thought that when back in 1926 when she was born.
Yeah.
Like she never thought 2023 to her 2023 is 2080.
Yeah, it's
To us.
crazy.
I'm like, man, so that's
Yeah.
but like I said, he does give, like he was saying about a prophecy. Esther, he told Deborah, Solomon, like he did put some insight on Enoch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They say, I don't know if I'm saying this right, I think they say he the only one that didn't die. He didn't have to die to get to him.
Wow.
I think he was just, like, God just took him.
Took him up. It was
What did Enoch?
No, it was Elisha. No, Elijah.
Elijah?
Yeah, Elijah.
Oh,
and there was an Ethiopian eunuch, right?
Yeah,
the Ethiopian eunuch also went up.
I think it was Enoch too.
Okay.
I have to read more about Enoch.
Oh,
but,
maybe it was Enoch. Maybe that was the name of the Ethiopian eunuch. It was one of them, but his name was Enoch.
Okay.
It was Enoch, but I think it wasn't Elijah. So it might have been the Ethiopian. Is he Ethiopian? Enoch?
He dealt with me to be Cushite, so he was
Cushite.
Cush. Yeah, because
Yeah.
the real name
It
back
could-
then is Cush.
It
Okay.
could have been him.
Yeah.
It seems like, because I
That's
remember
right,
hearing that too. We're gonna do a research.
Yeah, I think he just
that's,
took it, just grabbed him. Like,
Yeah.
you don't do it. You don't come
that's so
with me.
true.
I was like, he didn't. I was like, what?
He was I think
You
that
know
was the
that?
name of the Ethiopian eunuch.
Mhm.
Okay. 'Cause I know for sure. He took Elijah. Like Elijah didn't die. He just took
Yeah.
him and no
Yeah,
one ever
but
saw
there's
him.
two people. There's two, and one of them is Enoch.
Okay.
Yeah. And just so that's wild.
That is wild. Wow. What
Well,
about
look. Oh, well, same question for me?
you? For you guys?
Well, I mean, I can answer that. Especially that last one. It's kind of tied in both of y'all stuff, but just foresight.
Wow.
Like, God, you're opening these doors for me. What else is there? I mean, like, because even on that first one, and I feel like he was so strategic of having us interview this positive rapper.
Yeah.
And he just know hip hop, right? He positive. I
Yeah.
said, man, okay. And then boom, everything just started trickling.
Wow.
And, and now we're at the point now where we're able to start, not demanding, but like, okay, if you want to give it our platform, like, you're going to have to come with something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he said, well, we want to build you up first instead of going in like everybody else would. And now, like, okay, so he's showing us. We just got a message the other day. It showed us like how we need to be doing it.
Right.
Wow.
For real.
That's deep.
Well, man, look, I appreciate y'all coming on.
It's three kind of
We needed this.
people.
Y'all got to come back on so we can get deeper into the spiritual talk.
We're going to be following and listening. We're going to learn.
Learn and to get more people to become vegans.
Not have fun.
Yeah.
all that.
Especially knowing we get y'all to bring y'all business up, man.
There we
Yes.
go.
Talk
Most
about
definitely,
everybody
most
else
definitely.
going
Stay
like
tuned.
Baugh, this and that. Then you got the people that want to do it.